All right, let's go to the third out. Yankees Dodgers this weekend, buddy. So, are we shit talking now, or are we saving the shit talking for next Monday?
I don't feel like I'm in that much of a place to shit talk, to be honest. For one, like me, I'm not a guy who goes too crazy over a series in June in general.
Yeah.
It's just not really in my nature. But it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a good kind of test for both teams of like, hey, here's a playoff atmosphere against one of the best teams in baseball. Like, how ready are you? Right? Like, how do you look like you're ready for the moment? The projected
I expect sellouts all 3 games, by the way.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
The projected pitching matchups: Friday night, Yamamoto and Cody Poteet. Cody Poteet against the Dodgers. I'm hoping we can get after him.
Yeah, you're hoping you can get after it. But I will say, in the whatever it is, 2 starts that he's had, Cody Poteet's actually pitched pretty well.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, everything the Yankees are touching turns to gold right now.
That's right.
Gavin Stone and Nestor Cortez, another awesome test for Gavin Stone, a guy who's just been passing every test that's been put in front of him lately. I'm really excited to see him pitch in that environment against that team. That could go horribly wrong, but if he can give us 6 solid innings, I'd feel really good about it. It's funny, the way I look at a series like this, and I'll touch on the last matchup in a second because that's what I'm really excited about. But the way I look at a series like this is like it's just a great opportunity to learn. Like, and you hope that like if I'm Roberts, right, and you're on that flight from Pittsburgh to New York, like the conversation I'm having with my team is like, hey, treat this like it's a 3-game wild card series.
Yeah.
Like let's go into this series and let's fight like hell to see if we can win 2 out of 3, if for no other reason than to get like what feel like really live reps, and I think it's a part of the Dodgers schedule in general that I'm excited for because they, after the series in Pittsburgh, which will be fun in its own right, they go to New York, then they come home and play Texas and Kansas City. These are all teams that are either, we're supposed to be playoff contenders or are playing well. So I'm excited to see, how we do over the next couple weeks. It should be better baseball than what we've gotten the last 2 weeks. So I want to touch on the Sunday matchup because Sunday Night Baseball, Tyler Glasnow and Luis Gil. At this point, we know what Glasnow is, right? He's seen a ton of the Yankees. I'd be curious to look at what those numbers look like.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's really, really good against the Yankees. He kills us every day. When he was in Tampa Bay, I hated seeing him, dude.
Yeah, he's pretty damn good in general. But man, I mean, I'll let you speak to this, but what an awesome opportunity for Luis Gil too, right? To kind of test and see, like, hey, where are you actually at?
Yeah, if he shoves against the Dodgers, dude, I mean, that's something, really. I mean, here's the interesting thing, and I think you'll like this coming out of me, because on Saturday, by the way, it's Gavin Stone and Nestor Cortez, right? That's the game where I'm almost certain the Yankees are going to win. And the reason is because Nestor Cortez is left-handed, but Nestor Cortez is also unbelievably better at home than he is on the road. Like, Nestor Cortez on the road has an ERA that approaches like 7. His ERA at home is like 1. Like he is dominant at home. So that's how I feel about that one. But the other thing I'm really kind of interested in seeing, and it's going to be for the first few seconds of the game, is the amount of booing that Yamamoto is going to hear when he steps on the mound in New York. I'm being dead serious.
No, you're right, and I'm actually fat because here's the thing. Like, I mean, I get that Japanese baseball environments are like electric in their own way, but they're not electric in a negative way in the way that environments can be in the States. And look, I mean, that's part of what I mean when I say, like, I want our guys to like embrace that atmosphere because it's going to be hostile, right? Like, I want, because it's funny. We saw it a little bit with Yamamoto when the Dodgers were in Chicago at Wrigley. I was at that game and it was packed to the gills. And, bases were loaded against him in the first inning. That place was bearing down on him. And he ended up getting out of the inning scoreless, and you could see like the emotion kind of wash off of him.
Yeah.
This is going to be that, but like doubled. And so, whether he crumbles a little bit under it or whether he comes out and shoves, either way, I think it's an awesome opportunity for him to get a little bit of an introduction to like, hey, buddy, you're going to have to pitch on the road in October. Like, this is what it's going to be,
Yeah. With a bunch of fans that absolutely, like, genuinely hate his guts. Like we're kind of at a point now where like Yamamoto is pitching well enough to where, and again, the Yankees are playing really well. They're not thinking about Yamamoto that much,
Right.
but they will be that day. Like they will on Friday night, they will be. Like they're going to look at Yamamoto and say, "You mother effer." Like you played us, like we gave you the jersey and then just went cross country to go sign with your buddy Ohtani. Like I'm telling, it's going to be brutal for him on Friday night. But it is. I think it's going to be a phenomenal series. It really is. I mean, and that's going to be like, it's going to be one of those series where like every game, and again, this could be bordering on redundant, but where every game is legitimately going to feel like every fan's going to be there for all 9 innings, right? Every eye in the like you're going to see, I think, like these are going to be some of the most watched games all year on television. Like the atmosphere of these games are going to be so big that you're 100% right. It is going to feel like, listen, guys, this is virtually the playoffs. Like it's June, but this is playoff baseball. This is what it's going to feel like. So
it's a great dry run for both teams, right? It's a great opportunity to get exposed to that environment, get exposed to that pressure when the stakes are a lot lower, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If either one of our teams gets swept, we're not going to be coming on here on Monday and being like, oh my God, we're fucked, right? It's going to be like, well, that wasn't fun. I hope we learned from it, right?
Yeah, right.
So I think that's what's fun about a series like this in June. It's a little bit like in college basketball. Duke plays in the Champions Classic every year. And for those who don't know, I'm a Duke graduate and a huge Duke fan. And like, you get a game early in the season in a neutral environment against a Kansas or a Kentucky, right?
Yeah,
and it's like what an awesome opportunity in November to say like, hey, before you do anything, let's throw you into a March Madness environment and see how we look against another team that's going to be there, right? It reminds me a little bit of that, so I'm really excited. Mike, one thing I'm really upset about. Well, I'm not. I'm going to be having a great time, but I'm flying to San Diego on Thursday. Because I'm going to be at a buddy's bachelor party all weekend at a beach house. And I'm fairly certain that the Dodgers are blacked out in San Diego.
Oh, come on.
So, like, I'm not kidding when I say I'm going to be lucky to catch 3 innings all weekend.
That's terrible.
It's awful, but, look, this is one of my best friends. He's not much of a baseball player.
Yeah.
I got to be there.
You can't miss it. You can't miss it. I'll be honest about this. Like, nothing there are very few things in the world that infuriate me more than when sports make watching sports hard. Like
100%.
It infuriates me like you wouldn't. Why in the world does a blackout exist? Why does it exist? I can't stand it. And I understand it's all TV money. I understand it's all that. But
it's antiquated, the reasoning behind it, right? Like, it's all about like, oh, well, in your local TV market, and it's like, dude, like local TV markets are not really a thing anymore. Like that era's done. That era's behind us. So no, it's I would argue it's the biggest black eye on MLB right now in terms of their ability to grow the game.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing in the world. It is the dumbest thing in the world. Okay, so I'm glad I was able to get that off my chest for a second because, God, that pisses me off like you wouldn't believe. And again, like, I don't really have to deal with it as much because, like, the Yankees are in a position where, like they have Yes Network. So any game that is not on national TV is not, like, it's a Yes thing, right? Like, you can still watch games on Yes. But the Yankees have also sold out to Amazon Prime. They've also sold out to Apple TV. And I'm like, I don't want to buy 7,000 subscriptions so that I can watch a Yankee Tiger game on a Wednesday night. Like, I'm not doing that. It's stupid. I absolutely hate it. And baseball wonders why that the game isn't growing at the same rate as some of these other sports. It's just like pisses me off to no end, like you wouldn't believe.
Mike, we're going to have a lot of time for it this season. One of these weeks where there's not much going on, if you want to spend an hour just getting the fuck after Rob Manfred with me, like, dude, I'll bring a beer and we can sit here and we can just go to town on the guy because I got a lot to say.
There we go. See, there you go. we'll call it a bi-coastal baseball special if we do that. The Rob Manfred roast of the grid or something like that. Okay, but anyway, Yankees Dodgers this weekend could be the most exciting series of the year. Or at least it probably will be for me. I mean, hard to make predictions, Dalton, but I'm going to ask you to do it anyway. What do you think happens this series? Split, sweep, something? What do you feel like?
I don't think it'll be a sweep either way.
Yeah.
I think the pitching matchups, like I kind of like the Dodgers to take 2 out of 3. And it's weird to say that because I don't feel good about how we're playing, but it reminds me a little bit of when we hosted the Braves earlier this year. Yeah. And like we were kind of playing like shit and like I didn't feel very good about it. And then we like swept them. And it was like you could kind of see there was a different level of attention being paid to our at-bats. There was a different level of like intensity to the way the Dodgers were playing. And I think like if that's something that we can be in the practice of being able to like summon, I think that's a good thing. But part of it is I think Cody Petit, Nestor Cortez, Luis Gil, like Gil's been nasty, but Glasnow, Gil, you probably slightly give the Dodgers the starting pitching edge there still.
Yeah.
I think Yamamoto Petit, you're clearly giving the Dodgers the starting pitching edge.
Right. Yep.
Cortez, Stone's been lights out lately, but I feel like both of those guys, you kind of don't always know what you're going to get. Right. So like, I don't feel like there's any game I look at and I'm like, ooh, that one's going to be like, I don't think we're going to win that one. Mm-hmm. So, and as a Dodger fan and just to poke you, I'll say Dodgers 2 out of 3. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was 2 out of 3 the other way either, to be honest at all.
just I love how you threw that in, and just to poke me. But no, I'm kind of on the same page, right? Like I think Sunday's game with Gil and Glasnow is going to be like nothing into the 8th. Like it's going to be that kind of game for me because Glasnow owns the Yankees. He has his entire career, right? Like he feels comfortable pitching in Yankee Stadium. Like I don't know. He owns the Yankees and Luis Gil is on an absolute heater. So I think that's going to be a fairly low scoring game. I still feel comfortable about the Yankees on Saturday against Gavin Stone with Nestor Cortez, primarily because I think Nestor Cortez at home against the Dodgers is a fairly decent matchup for Nestor Cortez. Poteet Yamamoto, that's the game where I'm like, I don't really know what's going to happen because like there are definitely worlds where I can see the Yankees getting shut out by Yamamoto and the Yankees touching up Yamamoto. Like I could see both of those worlds happening. So again, I will lean 2-3 Dodgers in the sense that I'll give the Yamamoto, I will give, I'll go Dodgers Friday, Yankees Saturday, Dodgers Sunday. That's probably where I'm kind of leaning at this point to be objective. So, see, Dalton, I'm a better person than you. I didn't jab at you. See?
Apparently you are. I mean, look, because I'm just looking through different Dodgers stats against Cortez as we're talking through this too. Teoscar Hernandez has crushed him in the past, 5 for 13. But other than that, Ohtani 1 for 9, Betts 0 for 2. Freddie Freeman's never faced him. Will Smith 0 for 1. So, I mean, the Dodgers' big bats just haven't seen a whole lot of him, which I think will work in his favor because he's just kind of a funky guy in general. So, I think here's a bold prediction I'm going to make, and you're going to disagree, but it's just a gut feeling I have.
Okay.
Sunday's Glasnow Gil game is going to be higher scoring than Stone Cortez.
That's interesting.
And I don't fully know why I feel that way, but I just feel like Nestor is going to be a dog against the Dodgers and just kind of, cause
Gonna
issues,
be
right?
that guy.
I think Stone is like really becoming a dude. Like I think
Yeah.
Stone is making a real argument that he should be one of our playoff starters at this point.
Yeah.
And it just like Glasnow and Heel, both of them are just guys that I feel like could give up a couple homers. I don't know why. I just feel like they're going to give up a few homers. And there's just something about the game that everybody thinks is going to be a pitching matchup that it never is. I'll never forget.
It's true.
The best example of this I've ever seen when Chris Sale was with the White Sox and he was like all world and the White Sox were pretty good.
Yeah.
There was a Friday night game at Dodger Stadium back when the White Sox visiting Dodger Stadium was really rare. And it was Chris Sale and Clayton Kershaw. And I remember I was like, I got to get tickets for that pitching matchup. Like I have to go to that game.
Right. Yeah.
And I got like shitty tickets out in the outfield and it was Sale and Kershaw and everybody was expecting 0-0 into the eighth. That game was 6-6 in the fourth inning.
That's so wild.
Like both guys just got drilled, and it was just like, okay, like just one of those games. So,
yeah.
I mean, you gotta love baseball, man.
That's the thing. Is like the game that is going to end up being the pitcher's duel in this series is probably going to end up being Cody Poteet and Yamamoto. Like Cody Poteet's going to throw 7 shutout innings against the Dodgers or something like that. Like that's the thing. Is like you're 100% right about this series about these games as well. Is like Glasnow owns the Yankees, but maybe he doesn't own Juan Soto, right? Like because when Tyler Glasnow faced the Yankees, Juan Soto wasn't here, so it's possible. So. Baseball is a funny sport, man. That's why we're doing this. It's because this stuff is fun. It's just the way it is.